videos for Drift Week 5. I just wanted to give like a update, kind of a kazumu, what's the word for that? Summary. A summary of the entire trip and kind of my overall impression of how Drift Week 5 was compared to the other Drift Weeks. Definitely one of the big mistakes that I made was to not street drive the car. And there's reasons behind that. Aaron gave me a hard time. A lot of people were upset because there were a lot of trailers on this trip that absolutely should not have been there, and I agree 100%. That takes away big time from the spirit of Drift Week. Now let me explain and give my excuses for why we brought a trailer. There are 3 of us on this trip, and my S13 only holds 2 people. So that presents an interesting challenge as to how we go from track to track. It doesn't make sense to follow the car with a truck and not bring wheels and tires and tools and parts and stuff, right? Because Drift Week, Aaron supplies trailers that have space for our stuff, but if I have the ability to take my own stuff, then why would I add any sort of excess load on the Drift Week staff when I can handle it myself and we have to drive anyways? So that was the plan, was to follow it around. And then I'm thinking, well, if we're driving the truck from track to track, why not just put the car on the trailer, right? That's the trap I fell for. Because for me, it's no different, right? There's no risk involved if we're driving the car right next to the truck. Because if it breaks, then we just pull on the trailer and rescue it anyways, right? The whole idea is that there's some sort of risk where if you break down, you have to fix it. So following along with the truck and trailer made no difference. So why not just save the fuel and put the car on the trailer, since I'm not really having the risk and the fun involved anyways. And so just the fact that the trailer was even here available kind of ruined the whole trip for me as far as like the Drift Week spirit. To be fair, out of everybody on the entire trip of Drift Week this time, I have done more street miles in my drift car than anybody else on that trip. So it's not like I showed up with a truck and trailer like as an easy way out. There was a reason we did it. And I have no doubt that my S13 could have done it with no problems. I mean, with problems, but we can handle those problems. So I feel like part of the Drift Week experience was lost this time because we weren't able to do that. And so my original plan was to take the Chaser. Then we'd have a 4-door car that we could fit us and all of our stuff and parts and everything in, and then we would be able to drive the car from track to track. That was the idea. We ran out of time and didn't have the ability to do that, so we ended up with plan C, which was taking the original car that I built for Drift Week and Clutch Kickers, threw it on the trailer, and drove out here. So that was kind of a bummer as far as like the plan versus reality. They didn't sync up, and so we had to kind of shift the plan, and it took away big time from the Drift Week experience. Aside from that, we had a lot of problems with the trailer and the truck, which were self-induced. I'm not blaming anybody for that. It was definitely my problem, and that kind of took away from it because on Drift Week, you expect to have problems with the car and fix the car, but fixing a tow rig and a trailer is not part of it, right? So that was stressful and not very fun and not very rewarding to fix. Although I do like problems. I do like solving problems. I do like the ability to like resolve things when they become issues, but it shouldn't be on Drift Week. It shouldn't be with the truck and trailer. It just doesn't. It's just not part of the Drift Week spirit. So that was kind of a downer. As far as the driving, it was fun. The tracks were definitely fun. I didn't have a great driving experience. There's a lot of drivers on this trip that I don't know, and it's been that way since Drift Week 2 roughly, where a lot of those guys, I don't know them in a way where like we just pull up in tandem together, right? And so the guys that I usually drive with on the trip, I'm not saying by any means that I will only drive with certain people. You just pull up in line and nobody wants to tandem. It's kind of like driving some regional event where it's either very cliquey or people just won't tandem outside of their 2 friends. And that's also, in my opinion, the opposite of what the Drift Week spirit should be. And I can't pin that on me. That's on the dudes that won't drive with other people. So that's kind of frustrating. And it's been, like I said, it's been that way with the last few trips, which is frustrating, right? I want to show up to Drift Week, have high-level drivers that are like, yeah, I'll drive with anybody, doesn't matter, let's go. The highlight of this trip was definitely the LZ event. Super fun, lots of people. There was a big crowd. It was just had the energy of an awesome event, and I'm super stoked that Adam and Aaron were able to put that together and make it happen, and Chris and the track and everybody that made that happen. Like, kudos. That was super awesome. That alone was worth the drive across the country for me. Aside from that, I had a great time driving at Poconos. It was cold, which was miserable. It was wet, which was fun. I had a few problems mechanically with the car at that track, which kind of took away from the experience. And we also had the clutch was having its issues and failing. Hadn't completely failed, but was failing. So I wasn't able to just go lap after lap after lap for fun because of that. So a lot of people said the rain day at Poconos was the funnest for them, and I missed out definitely on a lot of laps on that rain day. Other than that, I really enjoyed the Shenandoah circuit at Summit Point. That was probably my favorite day. Once again, it was an open day. There was a lot of spectators that showed up for ride-alongs. I met some cool people. Had a ton of fun laps. The car was gripped up. It was dialed. It felt really fun to drive, and I was using that as my test day to get ready for clutch kickers, and I feel like the car is really, really good. So I had 2 fun days. Most of the other Drift Week trips, I've had a lot more fun on track than I did at this one. And then I've definitely had other trips where the Airbnb group and the people that I'm traveling with and everything is just like a better vibe than what we had here. We were kind of always a little bit behind, so we didn't really drive with the guys in our Airbnb group. They are very prompt and punctual, and they travel together, and we were always just a little bit behind the group in such a way that like it wasn't a tight group that way. I love the guys in our group. We had a blast with them. Another thing is they had a bonding experience where they were able to go and finish Jordan's yellow car, and I really, really, really wanted to be able to be a part of that and put some effort into it. But those were the days that we were at Max's shop swapping the clutch on my car, and that took 2 days. And those 2 days I would have much rather spent helping Jordan, and so I'm kind of bummed that didn't work out. So like I said, there's just a lot of things that I wish could have been a little bit different, but it just didn't work out that way. And so overall it was kind of a bummer. Definitely not my favorite Drift Week. I probably just like the way everything went down and all the stuff I've got to do, and as busy as everything was in my life and all the stuff I've got to do at home and at the shop and everything, had I known that the trip would turn out this way, I probably would not have gone on this Drift Week, which is kind of a bummer to say, but it's just it was a lot of money spent, a lot of time away, and I don't feel like I got very much out of it. But the plus side is the car is ready. The car, I feel dialed about the car. I feel good about how the car is driving, and it's ready for clutch kickers, which for me is going to be the highlight of this trip, assuming everything goes well, which I think it will. It's definitely always a plus when we have our group of people together, right? Like, definitely missed out having Dan Brockett here, Trenton, Seth, the people that I've kind of come to enjoy being around during Drift Week. And the last time we had Mike, and that was a blast. That was a super fun group last time. Even though we had problems, we have problems every time. Every time we have problems, and still seem to have a good time. But there's just something missing this time for me that just wasn't quite it. So, but I'm not complaining, right? Like, it's Drift Week. It's a good time. It's always a good experience. We were able to overcome all the challenges and problems we had, and for me, that's fulfilling and satisfying. But not number one, that's for sure. Thanks for watching Drift Week, guys. We're on our way now to clutch kickers. Hopefully to do well. We're going to get the car ready, and I'm looking at number one. I want to win this event. I'm feeling confident about it, and I have nothing but thanks to all of Drift Week and the prep that me and these other guys put into the car to get it ready and to figure out the little issues that we have. And so